Shalom, Israel. This is Israelite School University of Practical Knowledge. Started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by the amazing Commander General YAHANNA. This is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. So we're going to get to what's the law, and we're going to figure out that, our so-called religious leaders and the church and the establishment really don't follow the Bible like they claim they do, or how they say they love the Lord, right? Um, First, I want to start off with Psalms 147 and 19. Salaki for the tardiness of the class. Make sure we have time.
Khan. This is the book of Psalms 147 and verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Okay, he showed his word to who?
To Jacob.
To Jacob. And so, as everybody, the Lord's favorite people, the Lord's chosen people is Jacob. Which his name was changed to Israel. All right. So when his words uh, that he told to Jacob, you know what I'm saying? Like he dealt with this group of people. All right. Read that again.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
So his statutes and his judgments he showed to Israel. Nobody else. All right. So when you understand about uh when Christ led his people out to the wilderness through Moses, everybody that's seen that movie with Charleston Heston, you know, the Edomite that played Moses, and he let my people go. They made an epic scene about it. All right, those were actually blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the children of Israel, according to the Bible, man. And the Lord showed his word, his judgments to those people. Keep going.
Verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation.
He had dealt so with any nation at all. So any other nation that claimed that the Lord done dealt with them, we read right here in the scriptures that He only dealt with a certain group of people. Christians like to say that God loves everybody and the Bible is for everybody and God is for everybody. Well, God Himself is saying that He showed His law, statutes, and commandments to only one group of one group of people. All right, keep going.
And as they have not known them, praise ye Yahweh.
And as for His judgments, they haven't known them. So these other nations don't know the punishments, or they don't have to deal with the punishments that the Lord will put on Israel because of not following the words and the statutes and judgments that He gave Israel. All right. So again, Christians like to say, well, you read in the Old Testament, when Jesus came, all we live upon is grace. We don't have to worry about that no more. God is all loving. God is all this. God is all that. He's merciful. He's this. And true, He is. But when he punished those people, when He punished us, I should say Salakia. In the Old Testament, it's the same way today. But Christ is our mediator to where we don't get destroyed like we did, back then. Give me Malachi 3:6.
Hey, Salaki, sir, real quick, if I may. It's heavy what you're bringing out because I remember being in the Christian church as a child, and the pastor used to tell us to pray for peace in Israel. And then, now growing
Right.
up, being a grown man and being in this truth, I understand that the reason that church was so successful is because he had taken a bag from Israel, you know? And then when you read the curses and Deuteronomy, it's so plain that these people out here are not the people from the book.
Right. And they say pray for peace, but then the New Testament they also love. You know, uh, Christ say he didn't come down here to send peace. He come down here with a sword. He come down here to put uh uh just paraphrasing enmity between uh the father and the son, the mother and the daughter. All right. So don't think that when Christ come back that it's gonna be all gummy bears and cotton candy and hugs and kisses and everything. Nah, it's wartime when he come back. The scripture said that his vision is gonna be dipped in blood. All right. So
You said Malachi and
the
what, sir?
same way with 3 and 6.
Oh, so like,
So the same way that that we have to follow the law, statutes, and commandments back then, it's the same way today. All right. So like we can drop that Malachi 3 and 6. I'm gonna just go straight to the point. We probably do two subjects that today. So let me get where is it? Exodus. Let me get up to 20. Exodus chapter 20, and we're gonna start at verse 2. All right. So
found out I want.
what we about to read now is uh, what is famously called the Ten Commandments. All right. Everybody have either heard or read or seen a picture of those two stones that the Lord gave Moses on Mount Sinai in the wilderness to the Israelites when they was led out of Egypt. The Ten Commandments. A lot of people say, well, if I don't live by anything, I live by the Ten Commandments. We're finna find out how true you are. All right,
No, sir. This is the book.
because
Oh, so like,
uh, I've read it's like my bad. I've read these before and I've seen people's actions, and a lot of Christians really don't follow the Ten Commandments like they say they do. All right. Yeah, go ahead and start at verse 2.
found out I want to come. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord that brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Verse 3. Thou shalt
All right.
have no other God.
All right, Salaki. So here again, the Lord is talking to the people that He led out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All right, those same Israelites, those same Jews that Charleston Heston played. All right, he had the staff, and they had a nice orchestral piece played behind him. Let my people go. All right, so the Lord has given these statutes and judgments of His word to these people again, like that, like we read in Psalms 147. All right, keep going.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Thou shalt have no. We're gonna start right there. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Now, you would think that Christians would not have any other gods before them. But what do Christians celebrate around December? What do they celebrate?
Christmas.
They celebrate Christmas. That's one. Actually, Christmas is about several different deities that they celebrate or even worship. We'll get to that in a second. So what is another one that they celebrate that's coming up real soon? They they get these pastel colored suits and dresses, these loud colored dresses and everything. They put on their Sunday best. They go Easter egg. Well, I gave it to you. They go hunting for egg. What is that called? Easter. All right. What one that just passed? I call it the makeups and breakups because if you don't buy your woman no gift on this day, she gonna leave you and go to her work bay. That's sending every sister flowers at the job. That's Valentine's Day. So going back to Christmas, uh, one of the deities is the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is not in the Israelite custom at all. Matter of fact, in the Old Testament, it tells you not to worship the tree. The tree has nothing to do with Christmas at all. Matter of fact, while we're reading it, whole Exodus, because we're gonna go back to Exodus 20 a lot. So whole Exodus 20, and then give me Jeremiah chapter
10 and 5.
chapter 2. Uh, start
This is
start
the
at
book of Jeremiah, chapter 10. Con,
start at
Salaki,
3.
sir? I couldn't. Con, I don't want con. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 3. For the customs of the people are in vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the fork of the hands of the workman with the axe.
All right, so people
Verse
hold on. Uh, so people, now, they used to go out and cut down a pine tree or whatever the tree is called, and they'll bring it into their house. These days, you can just go to a tree nursery and they already cut and they'll bring the tree. Now, I mean, you can go to Walmart and get an artificial tree and just boom, 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 set it up. You good. All right. So this is back in the Old Testament. All right, keep going.
verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
All right. So what do we do with the Christmas tree? Deck the halls with boughs of holly, however they go. La 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 la. They put silver, the little silver little strings and gold. They put the ornaments on it. They deck it with silver and gold. And they hammer it to the ground. Back then, they had the tree to the little post so it won't lean or fall over. See, like I say now, you can go to Walmart and they stand and it got its own stand, so it won't move. All right. So they deck it with silver and gold and keep going.
Verse 5. They are upright as a palm, speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Right. So these trees that you putting in your house can't do nothing for you. And where this tree comes from, it comes from a pagan custom. You know, this tree represents um this tree represents what they call Nimrod. Nimrod was a ruler on the earth at a time, and when he died, his mother slash because he slept with his mother and made her his wife, and in order for her to pretty much keep her position, she told the people that if you don't give gifts and shower gifts to Nimrod who's in this tree now, He's gonna come back and hunt you and kill you. So that's where the Christmas tree come from. You know the wreath and it's a whole bunch of different deities that people celebrate uh, on Christmas. It's not just what they call the birth of Christ. Hold on, Salaki. Yeah, so Christmas is just one of these things. So when it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," well, you didn't put that Christmas tree and everything else before the Most High. You know, Easter is not in the Bible. You know, I've never. If you can show me one, I've never seen an Easter a bunny or a rabbit that lays eggs, and that bunny or that rabbit represents a pagan deity of they call it the god of fertility. All right, so that's another deity that you were worshiping at that time. All right, so like I'm updating the title because I seen. All right, we 12 now. All right, now go back to Exodus chapter 20.
God on the one con. Start at verse 4, sir.
You can read 3 again.
God on the one con. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse 3. Other gods before me.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is the Most High talking. So you already in violation with having other gods. And some people, some people, God is money. Some people worship Buddha. Some Israelites worship whatever else. And you got to be careful with doing yoga because that's like a Hindu thing. And when you out there going to these clubs and you smoking, that's not an Israelite custom. That's a Hindu custom. Just think about it. You at a club with a hookah sitting at your table, and it's 15 or 20 people sucking same little piece and smoking whatever if it's tobacco whatever the case may be. All right, that's not that is a Hindu custom. Smoking on hookahs. We don't even supposed to smoke as Israelites. All right. Keep going. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or that is in the earth beneath, in the water under the earth.
All right. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Now, I'm quite sure most blacks, Hispanics have walked into a church. As soon as you walk into the church, and you look at the pastor and look behind the pastor. What's back there?
Cross.
Anybody know? Big old 20-foot cross. What most rappers have around their neck as far as jewelry? What sisters have the cross? That's a graven image. When sisters with these earrings, these little dangly earrings, they have crosses. They even put crosses into the garments to their clothes. Like it's a clothing brand now. Like their clothing brand, their logo is a cross. You know what I'm saying? That is a great graven image. Why? Because when people think of that cross, they think about Jesus. They think cross is a representation of Christ. You ever watch one of those? You ever watch one of those like horror movies or one of those Exorcist movies? What do the priest walk into the room with in his hand? He walking there with a cross in his hand. Oh, you demon. And then the demon just be sitting there laughing at him. You fool. That doesn't hurt me. All right? That is an image of the Christian church. Now, what do our brothers that are Muslims, what do they worship, or what kind of image do they have? That
Stone.
cobblestone. That's right, a stone. Uh, you know, some of our brothers and sisters that are married, they done married more about so-called Asians. They probably got a fat Buddha man in their house. When you go to those Chinese restaurants and you think it's all fun, fun and games, and you rub the belly of that Buddha, or you put coins on it. Guess what you're doing? You worshiping that God. So it says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water beneath." So what they're saying, I mean, also with these, they say that these zodiac signs. A lot of people, you know, pay attention to these zodiac signs. A lot of people got their zodiac sign tattooed on them. People got two big old fish tattooed on their back for Pisces. They got stuff on their wrists. Cancer, Taurus, all that stuff. You're not supposed to make any graven image, anything in heaven above. Everybody got angel wings. What else everybody got? The prayer hands. Every gangster, every hood got some praying hands on their body somewhere. They got a cross on their body somewhere. All right. Uh, keep going.
Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow to them, nor serve them. Thy God am a jealous God, visiting
The Lord,
the iniquity of the fathers upon the children.
the Lord said He what? He's a jealous God. The sister says, so did He get hung from a tree first, and then they nail Him to a cross? When they say tree, sis, it's the same thing because it was wood. The wood came from a tree. All right. And when it comes to being hung on a cross, Christ wasn't the only one hung on the cross. Like everybody that the Romans tortured and unalive were hung on the cross. And they were set on a hill, let everybody know, if you do wrong in this city, this is what's going to happen to you. So you were an example. It wasn't nothing special about the cross, because the cross is made out of wood, which came from a tree. That's the only thing about that, sis. All right. Uh, where we at now?
Still in verse 6 there. You want me to keep reading?
Yeah, go ahead.
Con out of one con. For the Lord thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
You going?
Verse 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
All right, go to verse 7.
Verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guilt his name in vain.
All right, so the Lord thy God in vain. Anybody know what vain means?
So, like you said, does it mean like for nothing, like to
Yeah,
nothing?
for nothing. Right. So people usually say, "Don't use the Lord's name in vain." When you say "goddamn," that's not it. When using the Lord's name in vain is, sometimes when Christian pastors, oh, God told me to do this, or God told me to tell you this. All right, like when like some of these wicked pastors, God told me to tell you to like what's that wicked pastor that was using the prayer panties. Like he would have women go to his office and put on some special type of panties, and he'll pray over them. Of course, it's, you know what I'm saying, like doing things against the will of the Lord. Christian pastors like this. This is mainly for Christian pastors because they are the leader of the flock, and when you mislead the flock, you know what I'm saying, like you're using the Lord's name in vain. All right, just said playing with His name. That's right, playing with His name. All right. Uh, keep going.
Verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Now, remember the Sabbath
Verse 9.
day and keep it holy. You know, our oppressors have bamboozled us so much to where we think Sunday is a high holy day or a Sabbath. Uh, the Christian church, like the streets are filled with cars on Sunday. Even though it's a weekend and nobody at work, but everybody at church. Like try to drive somewhere in the morning time. Like everybody going to church because the Christian church is operating on Sunday. You know, Constantine, which was a Roman emperor or pope or whatever he was. He the one that changed the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday to keep you out of compliance of the basic Ten Commandments. All right, the Sabbath day is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's how it's always been. Now, when he took power, he changed the day one day over to keep you out of compliance. So when we go back, I think that's three commandments that Christians don't follow. You celebrate Christmas, and you do all of other type of things. You got a diamond, a blinged out cross. You do all type of things. Now you church on Sunday, which is not the Sabbath, so you're not observing the Sabbath. All right, keep going.
Verse 9. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
All right, so 6 days, thou shalt 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath day, the Lord of the Lord thy God. In Spanish, Saturday is sábado, which means Sabbath. That ought to give you a clear indication that the Sabbath day is Saturday. All right. Sis asks, so the first day of the week is Sunday. Correct. And what you're doing on Sunday when you go to church, of course, with the Greek interpretation of the calendar, You're worshiping the sun god, Sunday. All right. Sis asked, what are mood stuff like mood rings? I will get back with you on that, sis. I know they do have what they call yoni crystals. Now these yoni crystals, I've seen people. Oh, I got bad energy. Especially sisters. Oh, I got bad energy. They rub these rocks or these stones, and I've seen somebody at my old slavery. They put them by their box. They put these stones by their box for whatever reason. So you're definitely counting on these stones to heal you in some type of way, or get you spiritually sound, or whatever the case may be, versus observing the Most High. So that's having another God before the Lord. All right, all right. Drop down to drop down to verse 12.
Come, everyone, come. Verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
All right, honor thy father and thy mother. All right, who knows what that means? Does that mean doing what your mom and daddy tell you to do? What if your mom and daddy was wicked? What if they tell you? What if they told you to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster? What if they told you to be a murderer? What if they told or Slakia, unaliver? What if your family, were wicked altogether? All right. Sister said respect, obeying to an extent, yes, but honoring your mother and father means, pretty much taking care of them just how they took care of you when you was a baby. They clothed you, they fed you, they changed your diaper. They protected you, they ensured your safety. So when your mother and father, when they get on, it's gonna come a time when your mother and your father is gonna be not able to do things on their own. They're not gonna be able to drive themselves. They're not gonna be able to take themselves to a doctor's appointment or things like that. So you would have to take care, of your mother and father just like they took care of you when you were defenseless. All right. Um, so honor thy mother and father, that thy days may be long upon the land that God given thee. So you honor your mother and father. You gonna live a long time. Then when you have kids, your kids will take care of you. 'Cause, you got a lot of people out here that they despise their parents. Maybe because they disciplined them too harshly when they were younger. They abandoned them, especially like with men. Like a lot of men don't care for their fathers because either they weren't in their life, either the man chose not to be in their life, or the mother gave this false story about their father. So they don't care for them. So if something happened to them, they don't care. A lot of rappers, they make they lyrics off of this. My daddy wasn't in my life, so that's why I'm a gangster. Blah 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 blah. All right. Some mothers don't know how to be mothers because their mother wasn't a mother. All right. You know, Now we having, well, we've been having babies, but now it's at an all-time high now. You 11, 12, 13 years old, and you a mother. All right. Go to verse 13.
Verse 13. Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill.
Verse 4.
Now, thou shalt not kill. I want to give this to Christians that they don't kill, but I can't. And the translation of thou shalt not kill in the original text it means thou. So Christians, you know, God loves everybody. All people are God's children, including our oppressor, the white man. So the the gang that dress up in white sheets, they Christians. They got Christian churches. They're Christians. And guess what they did in their time and still doing it today? They unalived. So you can't give them that one. Of course, some people don't have no problem with not unaliving, but as a whole, since we're talking about Christianity, unalivers. But my grandpa ain't never unalive nobody in his life. Blah blah this and blah. But some people, you don't have to. Sometimes you don't have to physically unalive somebody. You could have been messy. You could have said something to somebody that made them mad, and they went and killed somebody else. All right. Women had got that bad. Yeah, he touched me on my butt. Your big brother ain't having it, so he go ride and he down the whole street. The lady that lied on Intel, she was a Christian. She was a Christian. Got that man mutilated, and I'm talking about mutilated beyond recognition. And then on her deathbed, what, 40, 50 years later, what she say? Oop, I lied. He didn't do that to me. So, and she was a Christian, and she lied. She used her tongue to lie on somebody, and they ended up being unalived. Thou shalt not kill. It doesn't mean you can't defend yourself. All right. I mean, if you or your family members or your babies, if they in danger, then by all means, you have the right to defend yourself. But if you're unaliving without a cause, that's murder. Stepping on somebody's shoe is not a cause. Um, wearing a certain color is not a cause. Being a different skin color is not a cause. All right.
That's a lock you, sir, if I may.
Uh, yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, it's crazy to me, how they pitted us against each other, right? So let's say you never even committed murder, but you got hatred in your
Right.
heart towards your brother, you already a murderer. I got that precept right here. That's 1 John 3:15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a
Go ahead.
murderer. And ye know that no murderer hath
Right.
eternal life abiding in him. So, even if you ain't never picked up a gun and killed your brother, if you got hatred in your heart towards your people, you already a murderer. And that's what America, and our oppressor has done a great job at doing is pitting us against each other. So even like I said, even if you haven't, outright committed a murder, you still doing it every day just because your brother or feel about your own brethren.
Like in our communities now, man, it's difficult, you know, living a life because especially if you're young. I mean, I know as to this, what I'm saying, being from California, you couldn't wear certain colors certain way places. You know what I'm saying? I remember, my grandfather on my mother's side, my mom's from California, she's from Compton. So I remember going to California when this was back in in the 90s. I ain't gonna tell you my age. All right, but this Michael Jordan was playing. So I had this Chicago Bulls unit on. And so we go to my grandfather house, you know, I meet know, taking with my cousins, and everything. We about to go somewhere. And they was looking at me like, man, you gotta take that off. I'm like, well, man, this Michael Jordan, man, this the Bulls. What you mean? They was like, you can't wear it. I was like, I'm from Houston, so I'm oblivious to it because like we didn't really have gangs like that in Houston like that. Not as heavy as it is out there. So I'm like, man, it's the Bulls. I mean, I'm not gang banging. They were like, nah, we not going. You can't go. And I'm like, oh, that's messed up. So I had to end up changing just to go, hang with my Chicago, right? Like you can't go on a different street from 63rd or you're not from 69th. Like, you can't go down that street because our oppressors have put so much of a stumbling block in our way to where we don't even recognize that that is a very divisive tool like against us to kill ourselves, to knock our own existence off. I watched this video about this this KKK leader. He was up in the Midwest somewhere. And he said, "Man, we don't have to kill black people no more. All we got to do is load up our trucks and dump a bunch of guns and drugs in the middle of the street, and they gonna do it. Do what they say, man." He kind of do it himself. He kind of chuckled and laughed. Like, man, that's crazy. All right, go to verse 14.
Verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, anybody that's in the chat, tell me what it is. I think we got a little delay, but
Uh,
for time's sake, I'll just go ahead and answer it. Adultery is unlawful sex. Adultery is for women sleeping with somebody that's not your husband, and for men it's sleeping with somebody else's wife. Matter of fact, whole Exodus 20, and I'm gonna get that for you. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20. We're gonna start at uh, let's start at Exodus chapter 20 verse 10.
Khan out of Khan. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 10. A man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, and he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
All right, it says, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. So, uh, a man when he commits adultery, he sleeps with another man's wife. So having these work days, these sneaky links for women, and knowing you have a husband, that's in violation of. the Ten Commandments. All right. Um, Again, our music industry pushes, that narrative also. It's a lot of rap that rap about, sleeping with another man's wife. The women, talk about sleeping with, another man. All right, keep going. That's like it. Hold on. I'm trying to find the part with the woman. I know where it is. Like, all right, I'll find it a little bit later. But we get the concept about adultery. All right. Now, read that again in Exodus chapter 20.
Exodus chapter 20 and
Was
verse
it thou shalt?
14. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Now, thou shalt not commit adultery. The safest thing. That's why here in the school, we have a courting process. That's why the woman comes much. Anywhere else, like if you go into a new setting, like everybody wants to uh, catch the attention of the new person. Like even when in high school or in school, when you go to a new school, like everybody wants to get to know the new person. All right, so you have to get like here in the school, what I'm saying, like brothers just don't go rush to a sister and try to talk to her, or try to sleep with her, because you got to first of all you got to get us time to shed himself from the world. You got to get that person time to really decompress themselves and detox their spirit. You know what I'm saying? Before you even try to, you know, marry a person in that capacity. All right. So thou shalt not commit adultery. You know, men shouldn't sleep with another man's wife. A woman shouldn't sleep with someone that's not her husband. And with that being said, according to the Bible, according to the Lord, sex is marriage. So when you think about it like that, sisters, you have a really tight window. So you can't be out here just being promiscuous, or if you're dating somebody, you gotta sleep with every man. No, that's the whole thing of, like, even back then, like they like in the early days, like people used to court. You want to find out if you really deal with this person for the rest of your life. If you really ready to live with they bull crap that they got going on, and she ready to live with yours. You know, so you gotta be, and that's running rampant in the church. I've seen videos where I seen this one video, man. It was a dude up there preaching. Dude walked in the church, stole off on somebody. Boom, boom, rumbling in the church. All right, sister stand up. But you slept with, well, of course, you slept with my man, you slept with my husband, and blah 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 blah. All right, well, it's two things in the world, what I'm saying, that I was taught, even back then. Don't play with a man, his money or his woman. Both of them will get you beat up or killed. All right, so definitely definitely with men, do not sleep with another man's wife. I don't care if their relationship is a train. You don't be that crying shoulder to her. Tell her to go to a therapist. All right. He not doing this. He not doing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dr. Schlumberg is right down there in that office right there. Go talk. Go talk to them. I'm not gonna be your shoulder to cry. All right. Because you know, like even like it happens like that. Like especially at work. You got this one brother. You know, man. He's charismatic. You know what I'm saying? You know, they quote unquote ladies man. So he talks to all the women at work. And one day, you know, one morning you get in a fight with your boyfriend, husband, whatever you want to call it. And you go to work and "Oh, why you slamming the papers down? What's wrong with you, girl? He playing with you. And, what's wrong with you? Oh my man, he tripping today. Oh yeah, he tripping. You know, he get that he get that look at it. Oh he tripping. What happened, girl? What happened? Oh, he did. Like me, I wouldn't do that. This is what I would do. I would take care. I would woo, 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 woo. Let's go to lunch. I got lunch today. Let's go to lunch. And then so many days is going to lunch and conversating. You done told him all your business, so now he knows how to cook trouble. You done let your guard down. And then that next company party, or even it don't even have to be a party. Now he in your DMs. He got your number. Now you sneaking around. Now you telling your husband, oh, I got overtime. We got a project due at work. Oh, I'm going to my girlfriend's house, but you going to Troy house. All right. Keep going.
Verse 15, thou shalt not steal. Verse
Thou
16,
shalt not steal. Thou shalt not steal. Now, do you think ain't no stealing going to Christian church? I believe so. They take your money every Sunday. I was in the world. I was going to this church. You know, he he said he preached the prosperity doctrine. So, which means when you sow your seeds, the God, open his open the windows and all stuff. And I remember one day, like, if you got we going on a mission to Africa. Every pastor want to go on a mission to Africa, out of the country somewhere on your dime. So I need everybody with $100 bill to stand in this line over here. Everybody with a $50 bill stand in this line over here. Everybody with a $20 bill stand in this line right here. Everybody with a $10 bill stand in the line right here. Everybody with a $5 bill stand in this line right here. If you're not standing in one of these lines, the Lord ain't gonna bless you. Really? That's crazy. Stealing all your money, bamboozling you. Uh, your boy, Ruffalo Dollar. That was one of his main things, collecting that money. I need new jet fuel. I gotta go spread the word, the gospel over here and over there. And then he get on there and
Malakis.
go ahead.
It's something that really gets to me is when you in a Christian church, you in that delusion, so you can't see it. But Yahweh Shai commanded us
Right,
not to give on in public. But they play, people walk up there and put their name on it. You know what I'm saying? You write your name
right,
on your tithe. That
yeah,
goes directly against Matthew 6:2.
right. And grandma, she giving her whole social security check away to pastor.
Gone, so
She giving
gone.
it away.
Pastors, the biggest thieves.
And what was your boy? Yeah, your boy. About to go, locked the doors. He held you. He held his church captive. They didn't give him no money. If that's not stealing, First of all, that's kidnapping. He said, lock the doors. Lock the doors. Until we get my goal, y'all ain't leaving. That's extortion. All right. Uh, keep going. Lock it.
Verse 16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Oh Lord, that's another one. Lying. You know, thou shalt not bear false witness. So if you didn't see something, you don't say nothing. You know, like I say, it's so many brothers and sisters that were harmed because of this. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, you know, going back to, you know, oh, he touched my butt, or he could be word, or oh yeah, that dude say he beat you up in middle school, and you know, all type of it can be anything. You know, false snitching. You know, you going to jail, but you ended up snitching on, you put the charge on somebody else, knowing they didn't do it. You know, you lying on somebody that caused them to get unalive, hurt, or even divorced, or putting probably married. You're bearing false witness. You go in there and stand in that courtroom and lie on your sister. You got something?
Lies.
All right. So lying against your brother and your sister, that's bearing false witness is one of the 10 Commandments that Christian churches violating also. So let's go back. I mean, have we found anything that the Christian church is doing uh righteous? I don't think so.
Lies.
Tried to give them I tried to give them thou shalt not kill, but yeah, thou shalt not steal. You know, Christians. You know, that means everybody, right? Also, you know, stole this land from the Lord's people, the Native Americans, the Native Indians. They stole this
So
land.
like it, so like it, sir, they try to steal our promise as
Right,
well. You know,
right. They trying to steal the promise. They trying to steal the identity. They trying to steal our identity, our swagger, everything. They trying to steal our whole essence. Like the lady that won in the Olympics, the breakdancing competition in the Olympics. Did you see what she did? Won?
that was
Come on,
terrible.
bro.
God, sir,
Like, come on, man. You mean to tell
that
you
was
mean to
terrible.
tell me she beat you mean to tell me she beat Terrence and Alejandro?
That was terrible.
Hell nah. Nah. That was terrible. That was a blatant slap in the face. I mean, I can't word it any more better. Like the stuff, like they made memes out of the stuff she was doing. She was just doing this here on the floor. It's like she was just moving like
Like a
bruh,
3-year-old.
it was terrible.
She was
Right,
dancing like a 3-year-old.
right. All right. Go to verse 17.
Con out of one con. Verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
All right. So it says, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. You know, your neighbor got a nice house. Keep his grass clean. I mean, cut. You know, like your boy pops on Friday. Look at Stanley's grass. You know, Stanley grass green, but no, mine ain't. You you won't Stanley's grass. So you try to move him out of his house to take Stanley's house. It says, no, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Now we back to adultery again. You shouldn't want his wife. You know, his wife might be beautiful and as all outdoors, Coke bottle shape or whatever case may be. But that's his wife. He spit that game to her, not you. You know, in our community again, bruh. You know, when you bear false witness against your homeboy, he ended up going to jail. Guess what he gonna do? Hey Kiki, man, your boy locked up, man. I'm gonna look out for you, but man, he ain't getting out no time soon. But so you gonna need a man to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Your boy locked up. Now you sleeping with his wife or his girlfriend or baby mama, whatever you want to call him. That's grimy. You coveting that man's family, his house. Because every time you went to his house, you know she cooked for him. You know she kept the house clean. You know she was mild mannered, like she ain't talk back, and you wanted that. You wanted it so bad to where you sabotage his livelihood. All right. Nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass. You know, that's talking about his work. You shouldn't want like if you want a job, man, tell him to put you down with a job. Don't try to, man, yeah, that nigga, he think he all that because he got a good job and blah 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 blah. Tell him to put you on. Learn his skill, learn his trade. All right. I think that's all of them. So as we went through these 10, I mean, I really can't find anything that the Christian church just really follow. You know what I'm saying? Because the first one, the ultimate one was number one. The rest of them shouldn't even matter because they failed at the first one. All right. All right. I'm gonna go to something else right quick. But yes, the Christian church don't follow even the commandments. So how you think they supposed? How you think they even follow the Lord in any magnitude? They are that the laws are done away with, and they equate this. Oh, this is the law. This is not. But it's in the Old Testament. These are the same laws that were written aforetime that were written for our learning. These are the same laws that Christ followed. All right, Christ didn't change anything when he came down here the first time. All right. Uh, give me. Let me see. Psalms. All right. So with that being said, you have to instill this into your children. You know what I'm saying? Like once you come into this truth, you know what I'm saying. You start over fresh, and while your children are young, like you have to instill in them the right values for them to become mighty mighty men and excellent sisters, princesses. All right. Uh, Psalms 127. Hold on, let me give me Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 7.
Come on, come.
All right. We're gonna talk about how to righteously raise your children.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
All right. So it says, well, verse 6 is saying, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Verse 7 it says, and thou shalt teach them diligently. Anybody know what diligently means? All right, diligently means like with great enthusiasm. Like how some people like they diligently want to learn crypto, uh they diligently line dance may be. You know, you teach your children diligently. Like so when they say and so talk to them about sitters in the house. When y'all just sitting around in the house, you talk to your children, you teach your children, you teach them about the Bible, you teach them about the Lord. You know, you start introducing like the religious text. So, you know, when they go to school, they go to school for 8 hours. It's a lot of influence that goes on in the school that comes from teachers and other kids. And then they try to bring that home. When they bring that home, you wonder why they behaving like this. Is because they done got 8 full hours or 9 full hours of negativity or something that's against the Most High. So when they sitting in the house, you talking to them. You asking them about their day for one, like how was school today? What happened today? You know, your friends and what you talk about with your friends today. You know, and of course, you know, children they like to talk. Oh yeah, man, Billy, we did this and did that. You know, he pulled down his pants and blah blah. No, see, stop hanging with Billy. Billy pulling down his pants and everything. Then next thing you know, you and him gonna be in the office. He gonna blame everything on you. All right, you teach them. It says when I sit us down in the house, and when I was walking by the way, when you just passing, like just talk to them and teach them. All right, watch how they play with each other. You know, especially with if you got more than one child, you know, and they playing with each other, like you teach them brotherhood and sisterhood right then. You tell your son, hey, no, don't play with your sister like that. That's too rough. She's a princess. You play with her lightly. You know, she's delicate. Don't be rough with her. You know, if you got two sons, hey, don't treat him like that. That's still your brother. Of course, you know, brothers, you know, they gonna do their thing, but you the big brother. You supposed to be the example. So you got to do things according to what I say, so that way when he gets older, he won't stray away either. All right. Uh, you can drop that and give me. If you got to say, I can anytime. Just let me know.
Uh,
Give me Proverbs. Give me Proverbs 22:6. We're not gonna be long on this subject. I know we got some excellent parents in the
this is the
UPK.
book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
All right. Train up a child in the way He should go. When he old, he will not depart from it. So you got to start early with children, teaching them and then training them. You know what I'm saying? You got to take that tablet out their face sometimes. You got to let them interact with people, with yourself, because it's a lot of parents. You know what I'm saying? Like it start off as a baby, and when that baby gets to crying, and you what you do? You stick a pacifier in their mouth just to shut them up, so so your headache won't be bigger. When they get older, ah, 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 you stick that phone or that tablet in their face, and that raise them up. Then when they get older, they get to destroying stuff in the house. Now you buy them that PlayStation or something just to shut them up and get them out your face. And the older you get, the pacifier changes.
Mm.
Come that PlayStation to that bike or that cycle to that car to whatever else, and then after a while, you know that and it end up like how rich silver spoon Edomites are. They got all the best toys, they got all the best material things, but they don't know how to interact. I remember it was this a little bit. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm in after sir.
All right, no sweat. Uh, it was a this was about a few years ago. It was this rich, wealthy Edomite that committed a crime. I think he unalived somebody. The judge said that he didn't know any better because, of course, he was acquitted of all the charges because he had money. But he didn't know any better. He didn't know right from wrong. And this was a probably a 11, 12-year old child, maybe 14, that didn't know right from wrong. But they expected Trayvon Martin to know right from wrong, and he was unalive. All right, all right, go ahead.
What you were saying is deep because if you really stop to think about it, it's like because broken and destroyed. You know what I'm saying? From a youth up, because we didn't get that love, I guess, from our mother and father. Like you say, they would just cram stuff in our face to keep us occupied. We grow up and we try to
Right,
fill that gap with all these different material things, women, drugs. You know what I'm saying? We instantly,
right.
and it's never gonna work.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why this Proverbs 22:6 is very important. We gotta train our child up so when they grow up, you know what I'm saying, they won't depart from your teachings. All right, they'll know right from wrong. They'll have the wisdom to won't even be in a position to where they in a courtroom trying to defend themselves on whether or not they was right or wrong. All right, uh, read that one more time.
Con out of one con. Verse 6: Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Right. So when he get old, he won't depart from it. Oh, I remember my dad told me this. I remember when my mom told me that. Because like with boys, sometimes, what I'm saying, that's why it's very very vital for us to start early. As males, sometimes we got to bump our heads. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we might have seen. I mean, we might have been told what to do and what not to do. But then my daddy told me don't touch that stove, but I want to see if it's hot or not. Sometimes we gonna have to bump our heads, and when we touch that stove and see if it's hot, okay, oh yeah, daddy did tell me that stove was hot and I shouldn't have touched it, but I touched it and I seen the consequences. So now he done trained himself in the way. Well, let me start listening to daddy because daddy knows, mama knows, right? And as a child, you teaching and correcting. So when he get old, he gonna have the wisdom like, okay, well, I have the discernment not to even do that, not to hang with this crowd. not to deal drugs, or not to do this, and not to do that, not to sleep with women and put them away, or not to do, all type of things. You know what I'm saying? All right, and not to succumb to peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? I was fortunate enough, like, I hung out with some people. You know what I'm saying? And fortunately, I wasn't what I call them, like a monkey see, monkey do type person. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody doing something, I wanted to do it just to be cool. Now I wouldn't like that. But if I did do something, if I did do it because they were doing it, that's because I wanted to do it. But it wasn't because, oh man, come on, man, let's do it. Oh man, you can't get scared. I was like that. I was fortunate enough to be, you know, headstrong like that a little bit. All right. Drop that and give me Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 1.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, and verse 1. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whither you go to.
Go ahead.
Verse 2. That you mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thy son's sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
All right. It says, Slack, read that one more time. I just got there.
Con of the one con. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, and verse 2. That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thy son, and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, that thy days may be prolonged.
All right. So it says in verse 1, uh, that ye might do them in the land where the go to possess it. All right. All right. So it says that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God to keep his statutes and his judgments that I command thee this day and thy sons. So when the Lord teach you these laws, statutes, commandments, you're supposed to teach your sons. And when you teach your sons gonna teach their sons, and your son's gonna teach their sons. That's how you. That's how you create what they call. I'll just make up something. Generational obedience or generational righteousness. That's how you teach your family. You know how to obey the Lord, because it says, uh, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. You know what I'm saying? So you'll kill that curse where all the men in your family die at a young age. You know what I'm saying? Because you done taught your son how to live righteously according to the Lord, and he done taught his sons the same thing, and so on and so forth. Now you got a whole family or a generation of men uh, that dedicated their life to the Lord. All right, and then of course they teach their daughters the same thing. Where they won't fall into unrighteous men. You know what I'm saying? They won't become bitter women. They'll become loving and nurturing mothers. Like how they grew up. In the household they were in. All right. Give me Proverbs 29 and 12.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked.
So if a ruler hearkens to lies, guess what everybody else is under him gonna do? talking the lies. Just pretty much how most of us grew up. Like we all grew up under the lies of the Christian church. You know what I'm saying? Grandma, well, she was probably the most holiest person in the family. Had that big old Bible sitting in the living room with dust all on it. It went up to Psalms. You know what I'm saying? But we grew up in a lie. So if the ruler hearkens unto lies, the servants are wicked. You know what I'm saying? Drop down to, let me see, drop down to 15.
Don't let it work on. Verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
All right, now this goes to correction. It says the rod and reproof give wisdom. Like you told your son not to touch that stove. Man, that was some reproof right there. He knows not to touch that stove. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, it might come down to a little spanking or something like that. All right, or most kids you can talk to them and they'll obey and they'll listen. But sometimes you probably got a little knucklehead on your hands that really need to learn. All right, but it says the rod and reproof give wisdom. You know, so when you give wisdom on that first instant, they should have the wisdom not to ever do it again. All right. Now we're gonna go to 22 and 15.
No, 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 okay.
Proverbs
The book
22
of,
and 15.
this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and verse 15. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
Right. So foolishness is bound in a child. A child. I mean, they just having fun. When you tell that they call them the terrible twos. The terrible twos. The 2 year old they getting into everything. That they walking stir down. They tall enough to reach. So now they go to the table and they trying to pull everything off the table, and you tell them, hey, don't pull it off the table. They looking back at you like, I'm about to pull this off. I know what you're telling me, but I'm about to pull this off. You know what I'm saying? And then they laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? They pull everything off the table, break everything. And then you go give them a little pop pop. Now they know that, hey, when I tell you to do something, don't do it. But it's gonna be trial and error all over because they terrible twos. Man, look, that's one of them ages. That's why they call it terrible two. They trial and error on everything. They pushing the gas on everything. All right, but it says, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from them. All right, so that means you still a little discipline on them. And like I say, no, not every child, you know, need a pop pop. Some of them like some brothers, or some sisters, they can just look at their kid like, and then they strike fear in them, and I ain't doing it. My daddy just looked at me like he was about to tap my head. I'm good. But I was one of those children. I need a little rod of correction. You know what I'm saying? I need a little pop or something like that. I need a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Because the older I get, the stronger I get. So the little pop didn't hurt no more. So now I had to get a little something, you know, worthwhile. All right. Drop that and give me Proverbs 23 and 13. I'm gonna try to blaze through it so we can get there.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 15. My son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine.
Oh, 23 and 13. What I said? I'm Salak.
Oh, 20. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and 13. Withhold not correction from the child. If thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die.
Uh-oh. First it says, withhold not correction from the child. So when your child do something wrong, correct them. Don't just sit there and, oh, that was so cute. You know, uh, it's hard for women to do it sometimes because they're not the natural correctors or the natural disciplinarians, in the family. They supposed to love, nurture, and so on and so forth. So like in single parent homes, like you see parent, like especially now, you see parents trying to be the child's best friend, and that never works because it confuses the child. You loving the child, you doing this with the child, and you just, oh, this my baby, this my baby, this my baby. But then when it's time to, no, no, you shouldn't do that, and blah blah, the child looking at you like, man, you just hugged and kissed me 20 minutes ago. Like, I'm not finna. And so they push the envelope. You love them so much to where you don't want to, you know, spank them or whatever. But like, like mothers, like some mothers now these days, like I see a lot of videos to where like the child is like doing something bad. Like I seen one, you know, little boy, he cussing everybody out. He walking like he walking, and the women they just crazy. Well, look at him. But when man get older, if you can correct that, man gonna, hey, look, man gonna run the house. He gonna run like how he want to run it. All right. But when that father's not in the house, you know what I'm saying, that correction kind of dwindles down. I'm not saying all mothers is like this. But there's some mothers out there that do that. All right. I'm just talking about the structure on how it's supposed to. All right. So it says, hold not correction from the child. It says, for if thou beatest him, he shall not die. So that, man, if you give your child a spanking, he ain't gonna die. He gonna be all right. But these days, CPS, you know, I don't know who CPS in the agenda for everybody. You can't even scream at your child no more. So your child can go in Walmart and tear the whole store up. You can't do nothing about it. At least not publicly, because you going to jail. But then your child never learns because you know we're raised in a society where our oppressors don't discipline their children. So we're coming up on their way of raising children. Just talk to them. Just talk to them. Yeah, that's fine. You can talk to them. Like I say, some children they listen and they correct themselves. But some of us, just like how the Most High say, the tribe of Judah is, we are a stiff-necked people. So it's gonna take some correction, and some correction, and more correction. All right.
Salaki, I got a precept to go with that one you just brought out, sir.
Go ahead.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 24. He that spareth his rod
Smart.
hateth his son, but
Mm,
he that chasteneth him. But
right. Matter of fact, that I had that was actually the next. Well, I had one more precept before that one, but that's actually absolutely right. Let me get that right quick. It says, "He that spareth the rod hateth his son." So if you don't correct your child, you hate your son. If you don't try to get them to change that behavior, you hate your son. You want your son to die. All right. It said, "But he that loveth him chasten him be times. Be times mean uh like before time, like before he even get worse, like early when he to you when in terrible two, he's gonna know some things that I shouldn't do because my coming here weak. But if he doesn't fear it, you don't feel no consequence. Then what is it? I work in the I work with children and like sometimes I have to correct them on certain things on communication and some stuff that they like to curse about. And I'm like can you please correct your language a little bit because it might be offensive to somebody. They like I'm a living cuss at home, so why do I gotta listen to you? Because there was no correction on how to talk, on how to behave in public or even at home. Because your parents then became your best friend, and you have a say so as a young kid with with two adults or one adult in the house. You know, I want McDonald's, but you got a refrigerator full of food. I mean, refrigerator full of food over there, but then you still bow down to your child and still go to McDonald's just to please them. All right. Um, Proverbs 19. Oh no. Yeah. No, we can drop that. Yeah, I got a few more scriptures that I can bring out, but I just want to just bring out that as far as like raising your children, man, like to raise them up in this truth righteously. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like to kind of I ain't gonna say necessarily go back to the old school ways, but like to raise your child with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And correction is the key. You know what I'm saying? Of course, with correction, that goes with the notes too. So, when the brother brought out, if you chasten your son, that means you love him. I'm just paraphrasing. That's the same way with us. You know what I'm saying? The Lord chastens who He loves. That's why we in the predicament that we in now. That's why our apostle still got his foot on our neck because why? We failed to obey God. We can't even get the Ten Commandments right. No, it's 600 something laws. We can't follow all that. We don't really have to. You just gotta listen to what you know what pertains to you, and that's what the Christian church is failing at. Teaching the Bible the correct way. And you got generations on top of generations on top of generations of Israelites that don't know how to serve the Lord correctly. They don't even know that Sunday is the wrong day to observe the Sabbath. They don't even know if the Christmas tree is a pagan deity. Of course, they done heard about not eating pork and stuff like that, but they equate that to being Muslim. But it's right here in King James Bible. All right. Uh, with that, I'm gonna end it right there. Of course, like I said, I got precepts. I like to thank everybody that tuned in. Let me look at the chat. A couple people chimed in. Shout out to Trooper Pathwala for reading for me today. We got young man. Shout out to young man Simeon, Sister Kana. We got Sister CC. from BMT. I call that Big Mosquito, Texas. I got some big old mosquitoes out there. Miss Taniqua Hill, the water for your questions and engaging also, sis. Sister Dasha Ra, whenever you bring that chicken, I got you. I grill it for you, sis. Who else we got in here? Auntie Coco, shout out to you. Uh, Brother Marcus Jarrell, shout out to you from Big Mosquito, Texas. And who else we got? Oh, Quadashi Allah, Shalom Lord Christ out. King Denny, or Dennis, Salaki, shout out to you. And Sister RJ, Spring, Texas. I know I hear Officer Gabo telling you to come to class. Man, come on to the school. Uh, yeah, we're gonna be here tomorrow. I might cook tomorrow. But that, pay your attention to the word of the Lord. I.S.U.P.K.com. Um, Passover's coming up. We are about 3 weeks out now. Pay your Passover fees. Uh, it's gonna be at the VH Ranch, man. Y'all just come out and celebrate the Lord's sanctioned holiday. And this is like, if you've been to college before, this is like Israelite homecoming. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they got the rodeo going on right now in Houston. It's bigger than that. It's because it's the Lord's. It's like a big old Israelitish homecoming. We got brothers all over the nation, all over the world, man. From the UK to Jamaica, Caribbean islands. We even got brothers, like we got brothers everywhere, man. That's coming out to Passover. So it's gonna be a grand event of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? April, is and then, the day after that, April 5th, is bread. You know what I'm saying? Come learn. You can find all these high holy days in Leviticus chapter 23. All right. With that, uh, shalom. All right. Water again, Papa.
Shalom, Lord Christ.